Hello, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Concerto's live programs. Thank you for joining us today. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances and events from international artists, orchestras, and stages to audiences around the globe. I am Krisztian Palagyi, and I will be your host today. And today we are excited to welcome on our virtual stage candidates to performance at Carnegie Hall in our 7-concert San Espressivo Carnegie Gala season. To learn more about many opportunities for musicians to perform with orchestras around the world, to record and release albums on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and other platforms, to expand their reach and grow their artistry, please visit our website, what you can see now in the screen. And let's go directly. I would like to invite the members of our jury to join us in the broadcast studio. The first is going to be today Scott Woodard, who is a dynamic American conductor known for his expressive musical leadership and commitment to storytelling through sound. A native of West Virginia, Dr. Woodard currently serves as a music director of the West Virginia State Philharmonic Orchestra and the Butler Philharmonic Orchestra, reflecting his growing prominence in the American orchestra scene. The next one's going to be David Wroe. David Wroe is an accomplished British conductor, currently serving as the music director of the New Jersey Festival Orchestra and principal conductor at the Phoenica International Festival of the Voice. He's a distinguished career, including roles with the New York City Opera, Boston Symphony Orchestra, and various international orchestra. And Gevorg Sargsyan, who is a Singapore-based conductor and musician director from Armenia. Recipient of Sir Georg Scholti Award, he has been guest conducting in various venues around the world with different orchestras, including Czech Chamber Philharmonic Orchestra, Armenian National Opera and Ballet Productions, Jakarta Symphonic Orchestra, Pescara Chamber Philharmonic Orchestra, among others. So, hello, everybody. David, Georg, Scott.
Hello, everybody.
Nice to be here.
How are you?
Scott, it's a delight to see you in digital format.
Yes, indeed. Good to see all of you.
Everybody ready to hear some good artists today, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's send people to Carnegie Hall. We want good people in Carnegie Hall. Okay. We start today with, we have actually 5 pianists today. So we hear a lot of piano today. And the first one is going to be Jack Nossaman, who's going to play Mendelssohn piano concerto number 2, opus 40 in D minor, the first movement just. So Jack Nossaman, the stage is yours. Bravissimo. So thank you, Jack. Thank you. Congratulations for your playing. And let's go directly with the first comment of this year. I would say, who would be? Could be Gevorg, I would say. He's already.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you very much. Thanks for this wonderful performance. It's been a while I've heard this concerto, actually, and it's very fiery, very interesting, very full of character kind of music, right? Look, you do it actually very well. If you ask me one thing, it's just there's, I always bring this example. Is like when you are playing fast, think that you are not in a hurry. You run for fitness. You don't have to run because you are late. So, yeah, in your tempo, there was a very nice sense of motion, but there was a bit of urgency. Like, am I going to be late? Am I going to step tempo? That's the only probably thing I noticed. Everything else was great. I also want to mention that you do understand how the orchestra works, I think, because your collaborative pianist is it's a wonderful musician, and she's playing strings as strings and woodwinds as woodwinds, and I'm sure you also reflect on that as well. So that was great. I was listening to you as a potential soloist with orchestra, right? So, and I think you do understand and know very well these things. So overall, that's from my side. Very, very nice, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gevorg. Let's go, please, next with David. How do you feel?
Thank you, Krisztian. Forgive me if my voice sounds a little rough.
It's perfect.
I've just come off the. I'm on the back end of a bit of flu, but it's good for my health to be here. Jack, thank you very much for that spirited presentation. Quick question: how old are you, Jack?
I'm 12 years old.
12 years old. Okay. So, in principle, I enjoyed very much what you did. It's clear that you've put a lot of time into this. And I know there are a lot of competing things in your schedule between school and maybe some sports and home chores and all the rest of it, competing with your time to put into, but you've clearly put in a lot of effort and a lot of thought and a lot of time to master this piece at the level you have. So the comments I'm going to make are perhaps refinement comments. Clearly you deserve this piece, and this piece deserves you. You bring to the table a considerable amount of stage presence for a young lad of your age. So you're 50% there already. And I do get a feel that there's music coming from you, which adds at least maybe another 40%. Sure. So you're up to 90% of being really top notch.
Thank you.
I would absolutely second and perhaps attempt to put it in a less articulate way. I agree what Gevorg says. And I love his analogy of running to be fit and not late. That's a very clever analogy for perhaps saying that you can explore more where you can breathe in this piece. I think if the first person who invented the saying to never miss a beat, I think they must have been listening to you, because you never miss a beat. Whatever happens, if the roof collapses, if the floor disappears, if it's a snowstorm outside, you plow on, and that is fantastic to a degree. So you have great rhythmical integrity, and you just keep going. I would say the things that you need to pay much more attention to now are just purely technical things. Yes, your octaves can be a little cleaner. Those runs that you have in the right hand can be a little more articulate and smoother and even. But these are technical things which will go away as you commit more time and you develop the muscles, which might not quite be developed even from a very, very talented 12-year-old such as yourself. Mm-hmm. So the good news is that your only issues at this stage, I would say, are technical. which you can take control of by harder work. Sorry to put it that way, but that's the only answer. Meaning more commitment to detail, more commitment to refinement, and just pure technique to build those, to get rid of those irritating technicalities that you're still struggling with.
Yeah.
I would just say again, to second what Gevorg stated, and perhaps what I'm trying to second, actually by breathing a little more and finding the direction of the phrase, that might help you in your technique. So that might release you from the shackles or the slavery of playing everything absolutely in time, to give you a little more time here and there to not miss a run or not miss an octave downward passage, to find the inner phrase, and then you can musically take a little time, which will also give you an opportunity to not make a technical mistake because you're just driven to the end. Sorry for being verbose and sorry for repeating really the point that Maestro Gevorg is saying, but that's all I have to say. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And let's go with our third conductor also. We have just conductors this time. Scott, please.
Yes, Jack, wonderful job. My colleague David asked you how old you were, but I'm curious to how long you've been playing.
I've been playing for 6 years.
6
about.
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have an incredibly mature touch for someone so young and who's only been at the instrument that long. A mature touch, a mature sound. It's good on this panel, sometimes good and bad, to be the last one to go, because in this case, I get the opportunity to tell you that I agree with everything that's been said thus far. And judging is very subjective. So if you have the concrete opportunity to have 3 judges who are agreeing completely on everything, that gives you some concrete things that you can actually take back to the workshop and work on. I think Gevorg made a wonderful point in terms of the speed and the chaotic kind of nature, when we have to be very careful when we're moving at that speed, not to create a sound that is chaotic, rather a sound that is vivace, or a sound that is brio, or those kinds of things that without feeling as though the wheels are about to fall off of the vehicle at any moment. I didn't feel that way. I want you to understand that. I didn't feel that way at any moment. But other things that I noticed, I think, with Mendelssohn, as we're pushing ourselves in history towards full-blown romanticism with Mendelssohn, I would seek to see maybe a little wider dynamic envelope in your playing. And something that stuck out to me for a moment, the little fugal section in the middle of the movement. For the symmetry of things, you want to make sure that your attack, your touch in the right hand is matching with the attack in your left hand when you're doing fugal type passages and things like that. But overall, I think my comments are just superfluous because my colleagues said it beautifully. Wonderful job, and thank you for presenting it to us today. I enjoyed hearing it.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much. Jack, do you have any question maybe? It's your time.
No, that's it. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for your pianist, for Dr. Anna Uspenskája. She's going to be also with us, accompanying 2 other more students. So, okay, so we move on. Thank you for everybody for judging. And we go now with just one. We have today just one pre-recorded video because a little bit it was difficult to make a good sound and everything. So we just have this one recorded video from Rhonda Ross. But after she's gonna be with us in the studio, so we can communicate with her, and you're gonna hear directly the comments. So Rhonda Ross piano, and she's gonna play Air Key Air Procura Avion Ferio on piano. So the stage is yours, Rhonda. Bravo, Rhonda, and welcome in our studio. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your video, and let's go directly to the judges. Let's start now with Scott, please.
Rhonda, thank you for playing. I know it was recorded, but I'll say anyway, thank you for playing for us today. It was lovely to hear you. I say I wasn't familiar with that piece before hearing it, and so tell me just a little bit about the piece. What attracted you to the piece?
That's a piece I created myself.
I'm sorry, say again.
That is a piece I composed and created myself.
Wonderful.
While I was sitting there in the
Nice.
first time, yes.
Okay.
So I created the whole piece while I sat there on the first time there. Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Anything that inspired the piece that would help us to understand it a bit better?
Well, I'm not familiar much with the grand piano, so I did go to a photo shoot and took what my music knowledge is, and I tried to play on the grand piano. So
I see.
I took everything I could, that I'm usually playing on an upright. So I went to a studio to record on the grand piano. So I thought I could take my music that I compose a lot of music on the upright. So I wanted to see how I do on a grand piano. So
I
that's
see.
what I came up with on the first time. Yes.
I can. Okay. Well, I think you have a very sensitive touch on the keyboard, and it was a lovely sound. Not knowing the piece, what I would listen for in a piece of that nature, particularly, I would want to hear just a little bit broader dynamic envelope to create an arc and flow to things. But beyond that, I thought it was very good, and I'm really thrilled to know that was a personal composition. So thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. Gevorg, how's your impression about her piece?
Thank you, Rona. Now that I know that it is your composition, it gives me a little bit more, kind of thoughts to consider to tell you. It reminded me a little bit of my trip to Bhutan and Nepal, where there is a bit of a, ritual sonic experiences that around their stupas and around their religious sites in those countries in the Himalayas. I feel like there is a lot of kinetic waves, circle waves coming in, and as a conductor, I'm just listening to it and appreciating new music. I love contemporary music in all forms and shapes, so this is yet another experience I appreciate. I'm not a pianist, so I will not be able to comment on pianistic side of yours, but as you mentioned, you were playing and using upright piano all the time, and now you get to the grand piano. I would say it cannot be that completely different for the keys.
Yes,
but
I noticed it was different.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like the piece as a more of a therapeutic experience. Probably something that I'll listen to separately, just to listen to it. But that's pretty much from my side on this stage. Thank you again for showing us and letting us hear the piece that you composed and created, your baby in a way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gevorg. And David, please.
Hello, Rhonda. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for playing for us. I have a couple of questions for you, Rhonda. So firstly, in listening to my colleagues and your interaction with them, the piece is improvisatory, correct?
Yes,
You've just
yes.
made it up on the spot.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Let me ask you, what are your goals and aspirations
Well, I have created
when
a lot of music
playing? Hang on a second. When
Okay.
playing this piece to others, what's your goals? What's your hopes?
Well, I hope my music is appreciated by those, and the interpretation is individual for everybody too. So, but my goals are that my pieces are to make people think and appreciate music lots more than what they have in the past.
I see. So, and have you studied music?
Well, I've had a lot of piano lessons and I've taken courses in music theory. Yes, I have.
Yes. So and so, are you wanting in your when you're improvising, and presumably you normally do it at home, you don't go to a studio and do it. Um, do you do it for yourself, or are you doing something to create something to say to someone else?
Well, I've created a lot of pieces and I have them online, so I put a lot of thought into the pieces and I try to apply different methods and create different sounds and structures while I'm playing.
So you
So,
do it for other people. You don't do it just for
yes,
yourself. You do
I'm
it for other
trying to
people.
do it for others. Plus, I'm trying to create new theories and sounds all the time. So I've come up with a lot of different sounds that I've
Right.
created.
Okay. So here's what I would say, and it's a very subjective approach, a set of thoughts and comments that I'm going to make. Um, Music has structure, and sometimes the nebulous, chant-like, uh, um, ecstatic stupor that Gevorg was talking about, that he might have experienced in Tibet, even that has a structure of sorts. It has meaning and it has effect on other people. And music, if you want to go out into the very competitive world of playing for other people, you have to have that in mind. You have to be
Okay.
able to attempt to convince other people, whatever the structure or nature of what you're doing, has some kind of meaning.
It's more than
And I'm
just
going,
telling a story, too.
well, I'm going to, it might be, but I'm going to be very frank with you that listening to you and listening to you playing the piece was a bit little like watching you reading a book for 15 minutes.
Okay.
You might have been laughing, you might have been crying, you might have been frightened, you might have been angered with this book that you seem to be reading. But very little of that came through to me. So can you imagine how interesting it is watching another person read a book for that long?
Well,
Now,
I'm
so
not
that's
really trying to have them read a book, but I'm
no, no,
wanting
no, no, no. I'm
the
not
people
saying
to
having them read a
listen.
book. I'm saying that you need to work on communicating what you want to say. If indeed you want to do anything other than sit in a room in your house and do what you did, because it's not translating to any kind of coherent language or speech. It's basically, to me, it was silent.
Okay.
So I would ask you to start thinking about how your language that you're clearly wanting to express, you feel it, and I can see what you're going. I can see, but that's the operative word. I could only see what you were going through. I couldn't hear any of it. You need to start thinking how you want to make your language understandable to other people. Now,
Mhm.
I could spend 3 hours talking to you about how you could maybe do that. But I think I need you to have a fundamental conversation with yourself. If indeed you want to play to anyone else other than your piano in your room, bedroom, or your living room, wherever, you need to have a serious thought with yourself about what can anyone else understand the language that you're speaking, musical language.
Well, thank
And
you for
then
the
I think
remarks. Yes.
you will be moving people other than yourself. But you're not moving. I was not moved by that.
Well, thank you for your remarks. Thank you.
Okie doke. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David. Rhonda, do you have any question? Maybe it's your chance, with only chance now with the judges to communicate.
No, I'm fine for now. Thank you.
Okay, then thank you so much for your piece, and hopefully maybe the next stop gonna be Carnegie Hall. Let's see. So let's go now with the next pianist today, Harry Chen, and he gonna play Grieg piano concerto in A minor. Harry Chen, the stage is yours. Bravissimo, Harry Chen. Harry, he's not a new performer in our studio. He already performed in one of our auditions, and yeah, I think it's just powerful every time. It's better and better from my point of view. But I'm also not pianist, and I'm not a judge, so I give directly to Scott, who can say maybe a little bit more detail.
Yes, Harry, incredible, incredible. I have to say I was just blown away. I want to ask you a couple of questions. How long have you been playing, Harry?
I've been playing for like 9.5 years maybe.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little louder?
I've been playing for around 9 years.
9 years. And how old are you now, Harry?
13.
13. My goodness.
Wow.
I'm not a
Not
pianist.
easy.
I'm not a pianist. So someone who can do what you did for us, it's just amazing to me. I want to tell you some of the things that I wrote down as you were playing. I said, you have a marvelous command of the instrument and a control of the instrument. Your range of dynamic is incredible. It's beyond your years. And by saying that, I mean that, in much older and more mature players, we sometimes don't hear that kind of command of the instrument. So you seem to me to have an understanding of form, of the phrasing, of the whole idea of romanticism in music.
Okay, thank you.
Did I understand that you have played with other orchestras before?
Only like one or two, not too many.
Okay. I was watching as well as listening, and I sense that you are an amazing collaborator as well. I could see that you were breathing with your orchestra, with the other piano. You were giving cues. You were doing all those kinds of things that mature soloists do to help the conductor understand what your goals are and what your intentions are with that piece of music, what your interpretation is, and that takes collaboration, and you did that incredibly well. I thought technically you were clean, you were stylistic. I even wrote down the words driven and passionate. It was an incredibly passionate performance, I thought. So I think you would be a fantastic addition to any orchestra's season. I really
Thank you so
do.
much.
I congratulate you, and I say, please keep up the good work. Very impressed.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you so much.
Let's go with David, please.
Hello, Harry.
I'm not leave you there now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Harry. Very, very, very impressive playing, Harry. And I've learnt a couple of things from Maestro Wodard interviewing you. You're 13 years old. You're playing 9 years, and quite for someone at this stage in his life, quite astonishing playing. All I can do is again say similar things in different ways that Maestro Woodard stated. A great command of the instrument for a 13-year-old. Formidable technique. You can play this piece. And again, I was also impressed by your understanding of the music. I thought the phrasing, the pace, the phrasing, the articulations, the dynamic envelopes were really very, very impressive.
Thank you so much.
I'm trying to create a kind of a balanced critique and struggling to find something rotten about it. But I'm struggling. If I were to say something that you might want to think about, I would say in the cadenza, you might want to revisit the pacing of that to find out where you want to think the peak of that mini fantasy takes place before the orchestra then comes in with you. I felt it just got a little too excited too early. And I think you can delay, you can make that crescendo and that build up of those sequencing of phrases, one after the other getting higher. You can make that more intense by giving us less at the beginning and holding it back and forcing us to to wait to get excited with you. That's the only comment in the little time that we have left. I mean, I might, if we had a year to spend talking together about it, I might express my personal opinions about different turns of phrases, but it's all subjective. What you presented was a very, very coherent, masterful rendition of this on all levels, and you're to be congratulated. It is formidable.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Something more, or that's it, right? I think
That's it.
That's it. Thank you so much. Okay, then let's go with Gevorg also. What is his feeling about Harris Chan's playing?
Hello. You know the saying, they say, no matter how much you practice, there will be another kid who practice more. And I think that
Okay.
Look, nothing much to add to my colleagues who mentioned, but I wanted to ask you, have you traveled to Norway yet?
Norway, not yet.
Not yet. I like that yet. But I think Norway traveled to you. You really did mature performance. It sounded like you've been there, you have seen the fjords, you know the nature you're presenting. But that's of course, and at your age, I must also mention that this credit goes to you and your teacher. This is incredible, and I hope you don't forget that as well. If there's one thing I will add to this, is that I really like that, yes, you know what orchestra is doing, even your body motion, you move the body with the music, or rather you move the music with the body, not with just fingers. And that's part of your stage presence as well, which again, for your age, is really great to have. I guess I'll just keep it short here and congratulate you and your teacher and your collaborative pianist. Wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gevorg. Harry, do you have something to say, to tell us, or to ask maybe?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, then thank you so much that you was with here and you played for us Greek piano concerto. And then we move on to the next pianist today, who is already in the studio. He's waiting. I see he's ready, and he's gonna play us two pieces. First gonna be the Lark by Glinka Balakriev, and the second one is gonna be Fantasy Impromptu by Frédéric Chopin. The virtual stage is yours. Good luck.
Thank
Thank you so much, Anirudh. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Can you please? Could you please tell us where you played from? Where are you exactly now?
Now I'm in India, Chennai, India.
Ah, you are from India. Nice. That's I really love your setup and your playing is really a nice picture. And thank you so much that you are with us here. So let's go to the judges, please. Let's start with Scott this time.
Okay, please pronounce your first name for me. So
My name is Anirudh, Anirudh.
Anirudh. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I enjoyed your playing very much. I'm curious how long you've been playing. Tell me a little bit about your study. Who have you been studying with someone, so forth and so on?
I've been learning piano for 8 years under Dr. Surojit Chatterjee, sir.
I see. Okay, good. Well, I know my colleagues have a lot to say too. I don't want to take up too much time, but I will say that I enjoyed both pieces. The Lark, it was very sensitive. I think you captured that essence of kind of that 19th century Russian popular song, and at the same time, you maintained the virtuosic nature of Balakiriev. So it's that's a fine line to walk sometimes between folk song and a virtuosic treatment of the same. And I think you did very well.
Thank
In
you so
the
much.
Chopin, I would say control your tempo, give phrases time to breathe, particularly in the fast sections. We've said before to other panelists that not to avoid chaotic nature in music has to have time to resonate, has to have time to breathe, and those phrases to communicate one to the next. So be very careful as you control the tempo. I thought you had a good understanding of Chopin and of that mid 19th century romanticism at the piano, but at the same time, you want to be very careful and allow the music to evolve and have its own life. It is a living being, that piece that you're playing, and we want to treat it as such. But overall, I enjoyed the performance very, very much. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your comment. Let's go Gevorg with you, please. How you felt about his playing?
With me. Hi, Andrew. How do I say mitkanandri for your performance? Tamil, if you're from Chennai, you probably obviously speak Tamil. Tamil is one of the official languages in Singapore, where I come from. So obviously, I just know how to say thanks. Mitkanandri, and I think I want to focus more on the Lark. More than Chopin. Chopin is more, as you know, is what Master Wodard said. It's a living music, and there are many things that you can kind of feel instead of just know. You need to feel them as well. But in terms of the Lark, this is a song. This is a Russian song, and it's about lively, brilliant kind of articulated music that Glinka also made it more of a virtuoso piece, right? What I would love to hear more there, you are very artistic. You are very like putting your all fingers into every note, and I can see that body language, and that's amazing. That's very nice. If you ask me, you could make it a bit more lighter, a bit more lively, a bit more Russian in a way. But that's being aside, everything was nice. I'm not a pianist, so I'm not going to comment on a pianistic things. But as conductor, I think you are. You have interesting, even physical features, very long fingers, and they land on the keys very smoothly and nicely. As conductor, I think you would want to have more understanding how to play with orchestra in other situations, not in these pieces, obviously. But in these pieces, from what I can see, you are a wonderful pianist, upcoming, talent. So keep it up, keep practicing, and make your community and Chennai proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gevorg. So let's go with David Wroe. Master David Wroe, please.
All right, Anirudh. Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Good, good, good. Firstly, keep sat down because I'm going to be quite passionate about what I'm going to say. So I want to see your face. How old are you, Anirudh?
I am 15 years old.
Okay, have a seat. This is, for me, one of the most exciting things I've seen all day. I am blown away with what I just saw, and I'm going to be trying to be brief because my colleagues say I talk too much. But you are a beautiful enigma to me, Anirudh. Firstly, I'm looking at you, and your fingers are flat as a pancake. So in theory, you shouldn't be able to be having the gorgeous, articulate runs that you're making. You're crouched over, so you should have a backache, and so you shouldn't be able to be playing expressively and relaxed as you play. It's you've broken all the rules, but your playing to me is quite extraordinary. And I'm going to be as brief as possible. Firstly, you have a sensitivity to the music, which is exceptional. Secondly, you have a technique which is completely there. You can play this piece both pieces very, very well. And the old rules about curved fingers in dexterous runs just flies out the window with you. You break that rule, and it's fantastic to see that. So you have learned you're a maverick in a way, in that you've learned to be a master in so many ways of this instrument your own way, and that is one glorious thing to see. So firstly, congratulations on what you do at 30,000 feet. I love it. You are very expressive. You're technically very proficient, and you have a very, very clear idea of what you want to say with these pieces. And so that makes you a very, very interesting musical personality that could
Thank you, sir.
that
Thank you
could
so
be
much, sir.
attractive way, way outside of Chennai, where I think you are. So I'm excited to get to know you. Now, if I were to level constructive criticisms, they would be in the first piece, voicing. And it might be an element of not an ideal recording situation or an upright that you're playing on. I suspect not. I think you need to think more about your balance between your left and your right hand. I found your right hand a little heavy in much of the accompanying work that it was doing in the Balakirev. So I think you can keep that singing quality, but let that sing in your right hand, but let that singing quality sing by getting your left hand a little more out of the way. And I'm selling it very brutal and straightforward, but if you agree, and if your teacher agrees with that, you and he will cook that and work in a much more sophisticated manner to make that happen, if indeed you agree. The only other comment I would make, which might contradict your thoughts on the Chopin, is, for me, that middle section is too slow. The middle section, the more lyrical section, was, for me, so disconnected from the B section was so disconnected from the A section, the ABA format, that it could have been another piece of music. But for me, with this work, there is this passionate moving forward that still is innate in that slower section, which drives it forward. So for me, the car stalled. if you understand what I'm saying, do you understand, Annie Dua?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been in a car that stalls on the way?
What, sir?
Have you ever been in a car
Sometimes.
Okay. But luckily you got to the top of the hill, and then you let you got down to the bottom of the hill through its own inertia. So the piece worked in the end. You got to the end, but it stalled. It was too schizophrenic. It was two completely different pieces. And if you remember, Chopin, right at the end, he quotes that melody, doesn't he, of the middle section? And so
He quotes the melody, sir.
the melody in the middle section, he
Yes.
brings it back right at the end after the return of the A section and the flourish. Right at the end, he quotes it again, doesn't he? So I think there's an argument that he saw these two sections connected emotionally in some way. So I would like you to just think about taking that second section being more forward moving, not to make it too schizophrenic. But other than that, these are just two very subjective. Well, that's just a very subjective opinion, which you might agree with or you might disagree with, and you can take it or leave it as you like. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just saying that that was my own personal impression for what it's worth. But other than that, I'm in admiration for what you do. You are a formidable musician. There is no doubt about that. And I hope that there's nothing that gets in your way of achieving your musical dreams. And I hope you have the support and encouragement from everyone around you and whoever you meet anywhere in the world, that this is a world that we would be lucky to have you in. So congratulations.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
David.
sir.
So, yeah. Anirudh, do you have any question? Maybe, or something to
sir.
tell us?
No, sir.
Okay, then thank you so much for your playing, and hopefully the next stop is going to be New York, stage Carnegie Hall. I really hope. I also really like your playing. So thank you, everybody. We have one more last performer for today. But before we go to the last one, I would just say and also take the time to thank to all our partners who are since the last 4 years or already 5 years helping us to make a great work, that we make this audition in the high quality, and that we can work with different studios, with different orchestras. You can see many orchestras, many projects what we are doing now from around the globe, around the world, from everywhere. And we hope that we're going to work also in the future, and also that we are streaming all the major platforms, in Facebook, in Vimeo, YouTube, of course. We are live also. If you maybe didn't watch any, or you didn't watch the last audition, you can rewatch in the live section in YouTube. There you can find, and also maybe in Facebook you can also like save the video. And so check us, and also leave a comment for us every time. Also the live comments, if you are supporting your friends, your family, like you can see now in the desktop, in the screen, that there is somebody also comment. And thank you for all the judges. They was also with us. I mean, we have one more of course, one more performance. They're gonna give one more nice comments for sure. And yeah, so the next one is gonna be Abigail Nossaman, the last pianist for today. And she's gonna play Schumann Piano Concerto in A minor, Opus 54, in just the first movement. So the virtual stage is yours, Abigail. Have a good luck.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you so very much for your performance. Let's just jump in and maybe can start with Maestro David.
Oh, thanks. All right. Is it Abigail?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Abigail?
I can hear you quite fine.
Great. Well, pleasure to see you, and thank you for playing for us today. Abigail, if it's not too rude to ask a lady, how old are you?
I'm 14.
All right. Well, firstly, thank you. It's there. Is there a short Is there a is there how shall I say a distant possibility that a relative of yours played earlier?
Yeah, it's my brother Jack.
Oh, what a surprise! I suspected that. Well, what a talented family. That's all I can say. Um, I enjoyed very much what you did today. You've spent a lot of time on this, I clearly, and it's funny, isn't it, that certain personalities can pervade throughout a family. You have a delicate, sensitive, and calming approach to music that I also noticed in your brother. It's beautiful to see that come full circle. Um, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it very much. You bring an elegance, a certain sophistication, and a calm confidence to your performing. And to this piece, and it's funny because I hear it. We've all heard this piece 1,000 times and performed it,
Yeah.
but it's always refreshing for someone to bring something new to it,
Well, thank you.
and it changes one's own perspective of the work. Um, how long have you been working on this piece?
A few months.
Just a few months.
Yeah, say maybe half a year, but I just recently started really focusing on it in the past.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Well, I'm just going to throw something out there, Abigail. I'm not going to talk about notes well played or missed or too much pedal here or not fast enough there. I'm not going to talk about that on this because, in a way, that's subjective, and that's also to a greater extent a dialogue between you and your teacher and your mentors. One thing I'd like you to think about is, we performers, and when I say we, I include you in this, we do have to be larger than life personalities. Um, because we are expressing something that we feel beyond the confines of our brain and the skull, and it goes outside ourselves, and we need to persuade others of it, of what we're saying. We need to persuade others, and it can be an audience of 50 in a masterclass, or it can be an audience of 3,000 in a big hall. But it is our duty, I believe, that we have to have powers of expression to convince other people of the genius of the work that you're performing and that you bring something unique to it. So having a kind of a larger than life musical personality is key for us performers. And I'd like for you to think a little more about this, about everything you do on the piano being a little more dynamic.
All right.
Your pianos more intense, your fortes more intense, your phrases more exaggerated. However you choose to do it, I'd like you to be more of an extrovert on the piano. And I know it's tough for a teenager, to do that, because, for all sorts of reasons, the world is a relatively new place, as opposed to us older has-beens and kind of been around the block guys. But I'd like you to search to be a noisier and bigger personality. And I think if you do this, the intensity which clearly you feel, and absolutely is in this piece, will come through. It will be larger than life where you are sitting, but it won't be larger than life in the audience. It will just be a meaningful, expressive, and dynamic experience for the audience. Because, of course, distance and a massive hall, distance from your concept to another person is a distance. And in any distance, the intensity is lost to a certain extent. So what you might think is exaggeration isn't necessarily exaggeration when it arrives on the ears of somebody else. So have a is Miss Annie your teacher?
Yes, she is.
Have a conversation with her about that, about coming out of yourself a little more and being a little more of a rogue, a little more expressive, a little more dynamic, being a little more off the wall in everything you approach to music, and see what she says.
All right.
Does any of that make any sense?
It does.
Or is this just the ramblings of a guy with a funny English accent?
I think it's a really neat perspective.
Great. Other than that, I think it's a beautiful flower that you've created, and it's only going to open up more and bloom beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maestro Woodard.
Yes, Abigail, I very much enjoyed your performance. And, there's an old saying that says great minds think alike. And I have to say that Maestro Wroe rained on my parade, because he stole many of the things that I wanted to say. And he's absolutely spot on with what he's saying. This idea of personality. Every piece of music has its own personality. Every composer had his or her own personality that was laid upon that piece of music, and then it's our responsibility as the performer to take it and add our own soul and our own spirit to that. And from the conductor's point of view, I won't say anything more about piano technique or anything like that. I am not a pianist. My beyond the concerto on chopsticks, I'm lost as a pianist. So I cannot even begin to speak to those things. I thought you did a fantastic job technically. Occasionally, I'm not sure if it was the recording setup or whatever. Occasionally, I lost your right hand a little bit, but I think that may have just been, the setup that we have here. But I would say, from the conductor's standpoint, Maestro Wroe makes a very good point, to come out of your shell just a little bit and collaborate, communicate just a little bit more. As a conductor, I'm looking for someone who has a little bit of body language to help me understand what your next turn might be, how you might pivot from one section into the next, or from one phrase into the next. And if you breathe together with the orchestra and you demonstrate, become a little more demonstrative about where you're moving. Is the tempo pushing or pulling or tugging, or what's happening here, so forth and so on. I think from the perspective of performing with an orchestra, you and the conductor will lock eyes and make some really beautiful things happen. Your technique is such that I think great things are ahead for you. I have one question. Have you performed with orchestra yet?
Not with an orchestra, no.
Okay. So whichever orchestra may be that first orchestra for you, I really encourage you to take some time and sit with the conductor and say, what are you guys looking for from the soloist, so that I can not only play beautifully, but I can collaborate beautifully as well. Kudos, a wonderful performance, and thank you for the privilege of hearing it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will just add one more thing, because as conductor myself as well, there's nothing much left to add on, and it's a great news for Abigail. If I'm the conductor you are playing this with, I'm going to challenge you and say this is not a concerto for piano and orchestra, but rather for orchestra and piano. It's unlike the one that your brother plays, Mendelssohn.
Yeah.
This one is very symphonic. And this is where piano, you know what I'm saying? And this is where piano is not just playing solo and then letting orchestra accompany it. It's intertwined all the time. The long phrase architecture, and that's one of the dangers, by the way, to lose that at some point. And it's not a virtuoso concerto. It's deeper than it is, virtuoso. So that will be my comment about how you play. We'll conclude on this. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions to any of the judges, please go ahead.
I don't have any questions, but thank you so much for the cool perspectives.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Abigail. Thank you. And we seem to be concluding this audition. Right. Thank you, everyone who joined us on this afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And hope to see you soon.
So as you can see, there's an incredible season up ahead. We have 2 to 3 more amazing opportunities for musicians from around the world to perform in Carnegie Hall at the Weill Recital Hall. We also have 4 incredible opportunities for musicians to play with orchestra, and not just in the US, but all over the world. This is such a great opportunity as musicians really need that experience with orchestra. And we also have something called the Laureates Ensemble, which is another incredible opportunity for young musicians to play with instrumentalists that are the same as them. We have flute ensembles, we have violin ensembles, we have so many more different ones that are encouraging young musicians to get together and play together, directed by some esteemed musicians in the US and all around the world as well. So lots to look forward to, and I'm sure everyone will be really interested. Just check out our websites at virtualconcerthalls.com. We have soundespressivocompetition.com. Just a really important note that all the judges are watching live as well, and so they give live feedback right after you play, which is very special, I think, to our organization. And I really appreciate that, because right after you play, if you get a chance to talk to the judges or to hear feedback, it's really incredible. And so then you're gonna have a wonderful closure to your experience, and I really love that about our organization. We have a Beethoven show every Thursday and Sunday, like I mentioned. We feature different part of a Beethoven symphony. Currently, we're on the 6th Symphony, and Larry Rapchak, who is part of the Architects of Music and New Media Productions Worldwide, he has narrated and written a wonderful commentary about each symphony, really, and he is just phenomenal. So check us out for that, which is amazing. I want to give a big hand to our collaborators, our partners, people who have been a really important part of our season. These are amazing organizations who support us by giving musicians, you, music lovers and musicians opportunities from recording contracts to music library to summer courses, master classes, an opportunity to study under great teachers and also play with amazing conductors and orchestras around the world. I want to give a big thanks to our team, a wonderful team which we're enlarging, we're growing as a team. These people make sure that we have shows on every single day. We are on live every day, and even throughout the holidays we have our shows on, and we are live stream on all the social media platforms. And so this is a wonderful opportunity if you want to join us, to collaborate with us, and for we are always seeking partners, especially for the upcoming season and the season beyond.